Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hidden Brick, where today we're doing part one of the build of the Lego Technic Mercedes-Benz Arocs 3245. This is the flagship model for 2015. I just recently picked it up, so I'm super excited to bust this open and start building it. So it's a huge set, 2,793 pieces, so this is going to be broken up into quite a few parts. But hopefully you guys will enjoy all of the technical details that go into this fully functional truck with a pneumatic claw system and all these outriggers and steering and working engine and all kinds of stuff. So let's go ahead and bust this open. So I'll cut the seals. So full disclosure on this set, I did have this last week. I picked it up when I was in Houston and was over at some friend's house, and we did open it, but we just looked at the bags and the parts. We did not actually open any of the bags. So there is all of your part goodness right there. So what do we have? Let's kind of move in a little bit here. So we have a bag of the paperwork, and this has the sticker sheet, and look at that, it's one book and it's bound. It's enormous. It's a huge book. That is the instruction book, so we'll be using that to build it. We have a battery box that's loose in the box. We have an unnumbered bag that has all of our pneumatic tubes, all of our pistons, and some valves. And there's a pump in there. Yeah, so that's all of the pneumatic functions there. And then the rest is all of the oh, here's another. So here's the motor. So that comes in an unnumbered bag. Let's see. Everything else. Oh, one more unnumbered bag. This is a bag of tires. There's 2, 4, 6 tires in this bag. Oh, and another one. I thought there was another one. So there's two bags. They're both unnumbered, and it's the tires. So it's 12 wheels and tires. So all of that is there. So what I'm going to do is open up I'm going to organize these bags, because it goes all the way up to bags number 5. Nope, bags number 6. Yeah, so it goes all the way up to 6. So what I'm going to do is organize these by number. I'm going to open all the bag 1s, and we will start building. Alright, so we got all the parts sorted, and we are ready to rock and roll on this set. So we have kind of this blank slate right here in front of me. I left that on purpose because this thing is going to get huge. So similar to the motorized front loader set that was built on this channel, this Arocs set is going to really take up a lot of space really quick. So that's why it looks like I've left a lot of room, but you'll quickly see it's not going to be enough room. I'm going to need more room than this. So we're starting with what seemingly is just some kind of random spot, and right off the bat I realize I've used the wrong length of an axle there. It should be a 7 long. Glad I caught that early enough. We would have been in trouble later down the road. Alright, so we're on page 1 of page, how many pages are in here? This is a 468 page instruction book. So that was page 1. We're going to be here for a while. Hope you're ready for this. Alright, so that's some Technic pins. So this gray piece, it's a 1 length axle and then 2 length friction pin. And I've noticed Lego designers have just fallen in love with this piece. They use it a lot in almost all Technic builds now. It's a versatile piece. I mean, it's for good reason. There's nothing wrong with it, or nothing wrong with using it a lot. So as I'm going through the instructions, I'm looking at the part count or the part call out of each step to make sure that I get the right parts. Let's see, and something's not quite right. Alright, so I'm not starting off too well. Had that shifted over 1. Goes there. Now we have 2 of the Technic pins with a pinhole midway through it. I don't know the technical term for this piece. I'll have to try that and look it up. But it's basically got 2 pins on both sides, but then it also has a perpendicular pinhole. Alright, so we're going to find a universal joint. Where are those at? Excuse me while I thumb through all of these pieces. Let me find the other stuff while I'm looking for it. So there's 2 of them. I'm going to need this, 1 of these, a 4 long axle, a 10 long axle. So they put a little cheat guide in the instruction book where you could take the axle and line it up next to it to make sure you get the right length. Need a bushing and a axle joiner. There's one of the U-joints. There should be 1 more blending in somewhere. There it is. Alright. So these U-joints allow these axles to have a bend in them somewhere, but then still allow them to turn. So they're pretty cool pieces. So we have 2 of them. So we create this complex little bend in this drive chain. And we, oops. Okay. Struggling right now. I just put that on wrong. The bushing's supposed to go there. So this is what makes technical. There's a lot of specifics that these things have to be in certain areas or else it won't work right. And that was a good example. I had a bushing slightly off. It was just in the wrong spot and nothing lined up. And it was literally just over 1 stud length. It messed the whole thing up. So Now we have this axle combination. There. So see how this drive chain kind of creates this bend, but yet it still is able to turn because of those U-joints. Alright, next up, 9 long. It goes there. That one goes there. It's loose. It's not attached to anything yet, but we're going to put this beam on here, and that will hold everything together. One more of these pins with the axle hole on the end. Alright, so we've basically started the middle of the chassis. We have this little axle that moves. Not quite sure what it's going to connect to yet, but right now we're going to begin the engine block. Which is pretty easy. We just attach some friction pins and just keep piggybacking each one of these block pieces to it. So it's an inline V6. So there's the 6 cylinders. Have one more set of friction pins. So we'll put that down because we're going to start the crankshaft now. The instructions show a 1-to-1 ratio diagram of this as we slowly build it out. Pretty straightforward, and if you've built a Technic set that has a little rotating engine like this in it, then you're pretty familiar with how this is put together. But if you're new to it, it's basically a crankshaft with our piston rods that we're attaching. We'll attach the piston heads to them once we get to the very end, which we're getting close. All right, last one. piston rod. There it is. So this one. Goes like that. So there's our crankshaft. So on each one of these little ball ends, we attach a piston head. There's the completed assembly. So what we'll do is just kind of hold it right over this piece and just kind of let gravity line it up. You can see they all fall into the engine block pieces just fine. So now we have a little assembly to hold all this together. Long axle. Right, so we take this 12 long black axle, slide one of these perpendicular pin joiner pieces approximately halfway down. Alright, so that is the completed assembly, which we will attach right here. So the yellow crankshaft piece fits in there just right. See, what am I looking for? It's a black or dark bluish gray. Dark bluish gray. Alright, so this assembly, we take the black axle, slide it through, and that attaches there. So what it's done is more or less held this crankshaft in a center position to where when it rotates, you can see those pistons alternate up and down the engine block. So that's cool. Now we have a small gear to attach right here. Bring this engine piece over. Slide that on there. That goes there. Push this all the way through to there. And a large gear goes there. So, I've created this drive chain where when I turn this axle, it'll actually, you'll see, rotate those pistons. They actually go really, really fast. Alright, enough playing with it for now. 4 of these thin lift arms, 2 on each side. Alright, so we'll put that to the side. We're going to do a little sub-assembly. Start with some friction pins. Let's see, 9 long lift arms. Alright. These are pretty cool pieces. It's kind of like a quarter frame with some pins kind of sticking up in 2 directions, this way and this way. So that's pretty cool because it more or less creates this transition where you can have a connection going 2 ways. Two. And a pin with a perpendicular pinhole. Now we have a 4-long axle with a stop on the end that goes straight down here, and you can see it stops, it doesn't fall all the way through. And we have this tan bevel gear with a half bushing. Have a 5-long axle. Couple bushings. This goes across, and by putting that on now, when I try to pull these out, it's stuck on there. They're not going anywhere. And then this piece kind of does the same thing. Not as good as a full beam, but it's held on there nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. These, 2 of these, and 2 of these. So what we're going to do is just barely insert these red 2 long axles into this piece. And we'll slide this in the middle and just sandwich it in there. And then you can push those red axles all the way through. Repeat that for this other one here. Those both attached there. Long axle. So it looks like, at first I wasn't quite sure what we were building here, but this looks like the steering column, or actually the HOG steering, or the hand of God steering, where it comes down and then attaches to something here. Goes there. That goes there. So we rotate this all the way around like that. So the whole time we're building it like this, and then they have us rotate it like this. Bring this over and slide that axle all the way through to where it stops right there. Next we slide these four long axle pieces in there, and it actually stops. It only goes so far before it automatically stops, so that's convenient. Can't slide it too far. Now we take our motor. We're going to put our motor on already. Take that out. This slides right in here. So there's our motor, perfectly mounted. Kind of leave this wire hanging out to the side until it's time to connect it to the battery box. And we're going to put a gear on here. There it is. So we have a black bevel gear that attaches to this gear, and then another tan bevel gear that attaches there. So that's all spinning nice and easy. And this piece that's going to enclose that motor is going to hold it on. Slide a 5 long axle through both sides. And this 3 long friction pin, it can go all the way through, but the instructions show it to kind of hang out only halfway through, because we're probably going to have something else added to it. And once it's added on there, then you'll squeeze those in and it'll hold it all together. So that's kind of where we're at so far. Let's do a few more steps before we finish this portion of the build. We know it's going to be a long build, so I don't want to make these videos too long. Give you guys a break. But who knows, maybe you guys like them long. Would you care if this was an hour-long video? Or are 30-minute increments a good stopping point? Let me know. I'd be curious to hear. Because it's not like I'm sitting there watching my own videos. But if I was, I would probably want them to stop around 30 minutes. Kind of like a TV show. The episodes are only so long. And if you want to keep watching it, you can go to the next episode. And if you're done for the night, you can go to bed and watch some more tomorrow. Alright, so that goes there. This goes there. And last but not least, that one goes right here. So what these kind of L-shaped pieces are doing, it's providing some lateral support of all of the horizontal members, or parallel beams really. So it's, there we go. So that way if I try to pull them apart, these are more or less locking them in place. So it's creating a lot of lateral support. Alright, so making some progress. We got our engine, we've got the motor in. We're going to call this video the end for today. We're about halfway through bags 1. So we will pick up and finish bags 1 in the next video. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss all of the other videos coming up. And we'll see you next time.